McCain prepares to flee D.C. to avoid 20 years in prison after what he was just busted in the act of. Senator John McCain is a traitor and an enemy of the American people. Over the past few weeks, disturbing information has emerged about his direct ties to Muslim terrorists, how he's basically owned by George Soros, and how he's been the malicious ass behind the series of leaks on Trump, as McCain continues to work in the shadows with top Democrats to get Trump impeached. Now another scandal is exploding on the senator, after what a British spy just revealed about McCain's dark past. But unfortunately for McCain, his antics this time are a federal crime, and could wind up getting him locked away in prison for many years to come. The liberal media has been working overtime to smear President Trump in any way possible, where they've been shameless with their barrage of fake news stories ever since Trump took office. The most infamous fake news story was when BuzzFeed and CNN used the fake dossier to push the nonsense that Trump hired 2 Russian hookers to pee on Obama's bed, which was later debunked. The fake dossier was compiled and put together by former British spy Christopher Steele and his London firm, who later sold it to Trump's political opponents. As 2 defamation lawsuits are about to be filed against Steele for his fake dossier on Trump, the former spy is now throwing John McCain under the bus, revealing the startling amount of involvement the senator to overthrow the president of the United States, which is a very serious federal crime. According to court documents in the British lawsuit, lawyers for Steele reveal that McCain was one of the only people in Washington, D.C., who had copies of the full document before it was circulated among liberal journalists and then published by BuzzFeed. McCain will now be forced to leave D.C. in order to testify under oath about what he knew, and why he decided to spread fake news about Trump, as he was obsessive in his pursuits to get his grubby hands on a 35-page dossier. The Guardian reported. Senator John McCain faces questions in a defamation lawsuit about leaks leading to publication of the now infamous dossier that alleged Donald Trump's campaign had connections to Russian operatives, McClatchy has learned. The dossier compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele and his London firm, Orbis Business Intelligence Limited, amounted to a collection of uncorroborated reports of collusion gathered as political research for sale to Trump's opponents. It proved explosive when published by online news site BuzzFeed on January 10. Now, 2 lawsuits, one in the United States and a second in the UK, are being brought by lawyers for Subcribe, a Cyprus-based internet entrepreneur whom Steele's Russian sources accused of cyber-spying against the Democratic Party leadership. According to a new court document in the British lawsuit, counsel for defendants Steele and Orbis repeatedly point to McCain, Republican Arizona, a vocal Trump critic, and a former State Department official as 2 in a handful of people known to have had copies of the full document before it circulated among journalists and was published by BuzzFeed. The court document obtained by McClatchy confirms that Sir Andrew Wood, a former British ambassador to Moscow and a Russia advisor to former Prime Minister Tony Blair, discussed the 35-page dossier with McCain. The defendants considered that the issues were self-evidently relevant to the national security of the U.S., UK and their allies, the document says, explaining why Steele and his partner, Christopher Burrows, felt it necessary to share the dossier's findings. Wood had told Britain's The Guardian in January that McCain had reached out to him about the dossier, and had obtained it through other means. The court document confirms that Wood, Steele and former State Department official David Kramer decided together that new information gathered after the election should be shared with authorities in Britain and the United States. Working with foreign governments to overthrow the President of the United States as McCain has done is a serious federal crime as spelled out in 18 U.S. Code 2385 that could land him 20 years in behind bars. Working with foreign governments is additionally a violation of the Logan Act, as citizens are prohibited from negotiating with foreign governments in order to undermine our government. Add these illegal antics with the bombshell that came out several weeks ago exposing McCain's intimate ties with the London Bridge bomber, and it's completely asinine that this man has not been impeached by Congress. It's time that we the people demand that John McCain be removed from office. He's nothing more than a domestic terrorist who has gotten away with his BS in the past by hiding behind his status as a veteran, as he frequently uses the sob story of being a POW to divert everyone's attention away from the fact that he's a prostrator and domestic terrorist. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.